Marvel's X issues number 1 through 6, story by Alex Ross and Jim Krueger, script by Jim Krueger, artist is Well B, letterer is VC's Corty Petit, editor is Alanna Smith, assistant editor is Shannon Andrews and Ballesteros, editor is Tom Brevoort, published January 8th, 2020. A Comixology Unlimited from Marvel for a series of books that came out in January 8th, 2020. A very uncommon occurrence, so it makes me wonder what was in the book that made it go so soon to the Unlimited list. Also, the part where it is $1.99 for the non-Comixology Unlimited account holders does leave you scratching your head a bit. Let's discuss. If you are enjoying the reviews, do the YouTube thing, feed the algorithm and all that fun stuff, and here we go. If you ever read through Kingdom Come once, there are times when this feels the same as that influential book from DC Comics, but then again, that's not surprising because Alex Ross is one of the creative minds behind that work. With the same sense of professionalism we get from a comic book veteran, we see it here in the coloring and art. Well B adds to his style here as well. I am giving this a star plus. What feels basically like Walking Dead but in color. It helps tell the rather bleak story of this miniseries. As many of you regulars have figured out, I am not a fan of people just using square panels. It is boring and it can make certain scenes of impact just less impactful because they're limited to a small rectangle or square. But in the hands of a veteran comic book creator who knows what they are doing, well, square panels aren't an issue, since it is all about how they use the real estate of the page to help tell the story, and this one has done it well. I'm giving it a star plus. Like I said, not usually a square and rectangle panel guy myself, but they weren't overcrowded for key scenes and didn't have any wasted page space, economically used for maximum efficiency for storytelling. We follow the character David on his journey to New York, and we see various other heroes make their cameos. So it does make it a little bit simplistic and almost textbook style for dialogue in comic book making. Star, at least they didn't put any of that whole "this is how young people speak." But as far as personality goes, we don't see much from David, even though it is a more pessimistic take on our heroes, I dare say. We still have their established personalities come on through. What does it mean to be a hero? This is a question that every comic book creator has to wrestle with. Alex Ross in particular has done so before with the comic Kingdom Come. Along with Jim Krueger, this book series takes that question and gives it a more Robert Kirkland type answer, in that the ending of this miniseries gives us an answer that many of us may find unsatisfactory. Though that only applies to the ones who played more of an active role in the miniseries. The other heroes do make a cameo, so their 2 cents for the themes are just worth that 2 cents. I'm giving this a star. It sticks to its thesis quite well, even if one may not find the conclusion to be something they agree with, but one should respect the answer. Kind of. The simple plots work more for comic books than the more complex ones, especially for superheroes that rely on that big moment in the action scenes. And this one may be simple, but that big action moment is somewhat lackluster. And the ending of this, well, it was, head scratching, but kind of in the bad way. I'm not going to say anything more because, spoilers and stuff. That being said, I am going to give this a star. It had all the I's dotted and the T's crossed. It still didn't cross the finish line with the finesse that one would expect, veterans of this industry. But if you weren't expecting a great finish line crossing, then, you'll just say, I knew that would happen. But if you were, then you might be a little bit disappointed. 5 stars, 2 pluses, a respectable score. Now, Kingdom Come was a really influential comic. It was almost like a reset from the grimdark that US comics were heading down. But instead of being an actual reset, it was just more of a reprieve. A break from the style of storytelling that the US comics were going down until basically the 2010s, when somehow comics became a showcase of company morals and ethics, as in, this is why they're good companies, which is somewhat ironic because of the highly unethical nature of early comic book companies in the 1930s up till basically this day, and probably in the future too, especially how they treat their creative talents. It is somewhat unavoidable, however, that people will reflect the issues of the present and put it into their art. That being said, this book is a nice break from all that, to be honest. Another reprieve from what seems to be a deluge of hills that people are quote unquote willing to die on regarding, certain social issues of the modern day at the time of this recording. Civil rights, representation, political jockeying, all that fun stuff. We really don't see that here, which again makes it a nice reprieve. But the ending is what is bothersome, to be honest. And I'm going to spoil it here, but considering that most people don't watch all the way, I might as well talk about it. David goes through the entire miniseries thinking he's the last human on Earth. He makes the ultimate sacrifice in the end because he believes the world needs heroes like Captain America. And we find out that there are no more normal humans left because apparently in this world where everyone has powers, David's power is the ability to not die. So he ends up at a circus where his shtick, his act, is basically people killing him for entertainment. Now, this might be a statement on the current social climate we are on, or a metaphor for the Twitter age and the masses who are all so eager to string someone up on a metaphorical gallows, but in reality, it's just simply cyberbullying. But, that is the ending that you get. David dies over and over again, dressed up like Daredevil. Now, this may make one curious what the continuation of this story will be about. This is a prequel to the Earth X trilogy, which was written back in February 9th, 2012. But let's be honest here. With that ending, which is pretty unsatisfactory, it would probably already affect my own personal views in reading the Earth X trilogy. At least story-eyes. But hey, if the art is good, it may help, but not really. But, still a respectable score. 5 stars, 2 pluses. Get it if you like it. If you did make it this far, I do appreciate it. Most people don't. You have my thanks. If you do enjoy this sort of content, please do the YouTube thing. Fill out the algorithm. Like, subscribe, comment, and all that fun stuff. And I hope you are having a good day or good evening. Ciao, everybody.